What I'm about to share with you has given me so much peace in helping me know that I am on the right track in executing and fulfilling my dreams with the help of Jesus. If you're somebody who really desires to make a lasting impact in this life, one of the most important questions that you can ask yourself is, where do you see yourself in 5 years, 10 years, 25 years? In this video, I want to show you how I've learned to envision my dreams fulfilled, then how I plan to get there with the help of the Holy Spirit by setting 90-day priorities, all the way down to executing weekly and daily tasks. Yogi Berra, the old New York Yankees baseball player, once said, if you don't know where you're going, you're never gonna get there. So my first point is, you have to start with the vision that God gives you. In the book of Genesis, God spoke with Abraham and he said, Abraham, look at the stars now. Abraham looked up and he got a clear picture from God. God then said, this, what you see now, is what I am going to do with your descendants. As many stars as there are in the sky, so your descendants will be. So what is a practical step that you can take in order to implement this principle into your life? In the next week, take 2-3 hours to sit down with Jesus and ask for help from him to paint this picture of the kind of life that he would like you to have in 5 years, 10 years, 25 years. That's up to you how far out you want to go. Understand that this can change. This should be molded every month, every 90 days, every year. He's gonna add and take out things. But know that he can give you direction on general principles of what your financial life should look like, your family life, your personal relationship with Jesus, your ministry in making disciples of all nations, how you spend your time, what kind of relationship do you have with friends and family. Take time out of your week this week to sit down and ask God to do the same thing for you that he did with Abraham. Once you have that in mind, start to write these things down, okay? Be clear and be as detailed as you possibly can. Now, the next part of this is about setting targets. This is up to you about the timeline of how far out you want to set targets. This could be a 5-year target. This could be a 3-year or a 1-year target. An example would be, I want to have this business planted by this time. In 3 years, this is what I'm doing full time, and I have 2 employees under me. This would be a 3-year target. It's trackable, and you work with numbers in regards to these things, a timeline. You can set a 1-year goal. Possibly for those of you in ministry who are making disciples in Jesus' name, that could be, I want to have 2 life groups under me. I want to have 1 life group under me. I have 10 disciples. Or you could say, I want to have a team, and each of these members of your team have a life group, and you have 3. I don't know. These are just examples. But setting targets is extremely important because it has to do with numbers and times. These targets are supposed to fit inside that the vision in point 1 God has been giving to you. These targets are the stepping stones that you have to meet to fulfill God's plan and purpose for your life. And always remember, guys, since we have the Holy Spirit as our Lord, he directs the paths of our lives. Things can change, all right? Not everything is gonna work out in the way that you want it to work out or think it will work out. Our responsibility is to position ourselves, as I said before, for success. Setting targets is a clear way to set paths and tracks for us to achieve the things that God is planting inside of our hearts. Now, the next point is even more detailed. The next point is set 90-day priorities. A lot of people set goals for their year. Each January, they set goals for 1 year. There's several reasons why I do 90 days and not 1 year. The main one is because 90 days gives you a sense of urgency. You know, when you have a goal of 1 year out, it could be January, February, March, and you're saying, I still have 9 more months to achieve that goal. Let me focus on what I have going on right now. And then those last months come up and you say, dang, I didn't work at this goal as much as I wanted to. 90 days gives you a sense of urgency. And another point is, it's more trackable, it's more controllable. You're able to see 3 months ahead of now easier than you're able to see 12 months out, and you can plan more effectively. And you can do this with projects. You can do this with school. You can do this with relationships. Any area of your life, this can pretty much apply to. Maybe one of your targets for the year was to open 2 life groups. You have to ask yourself, what do I have to do in 90 days in order to put myself in a position to execute that target? And you and I both know this process of opening a life group is complicated. You need to talk with a lot of people, you need to pray a lot. And we ultimately know that it is up to God to bring the harvest. He said He is the Lord of the harvest, not us. But remember, we have to set ourselves up to succeed, position ourselves to do everything in our power and our responsibility to obey what God is planting in our hearts. So an example of a 90-day priority is, I want to have 5 disciples. All right, how do we accomplish that? We know that weekly we have to set aside intentional time for evangelism. A disciple cannot be made unless we share Jesus with them, right? For that 90-day priority, you're gonna bullet number 1, have 5 disciples. And you're gonna put the date of when this 90-day period finishes next to that point. This is priority number 1. Underneath that priority, you're gonna put monthly or weekly targets. I know, based off of, I'd say about 4.5 years of experience, in order to get 1 disciple, based off my experience, you have to talk to a lot of people about Jesus. Therefore, it would make sense for me to put that bullet point underneath this priority to talk to 12 people in 1 week. And I'm not talking about only 12 people that I just say Jesus loves you or share it in the gospel and just saying bye. No, I'm gonna count these 12 people as people I have shared my testimony with, shared the gospel with, and then at the end, challenge them to discipleship. That will count as 1 person. I also know that I have to pray for these people to get to know Jesus. Without prayer, I can do nothing. So how many hours a week or hours a day or minutes a day am I gonna spend in prayer for them? An example would be, I'm gonna dedicate 20 minutes a day in my secret place time with Jesus to specifically pray for these 5 disciples. Another example you could use would be something like reading books. That one's pretty self-explanatory. I want to read 3 books this 90 days about life with Jesus or leadership or whatever. All right, you put that as your priority, and then you start to map out how many hours a week you need to be reading. Go and find out how many pages there are in all 3 of those books combined, divide it by 3, and then divide it by 30, and then divide it by however many days are in the month or whatever. You get the point. It's gotta be trackable. You have to find out how many pages a day do you have to read in order to meet that goal. Okay, now that you've set your 90-day priorities, that leads us to our 3rd point. Set a weekly schedule. Every Monday, I sit down for 1 hour. I have my 90-day priorities in front of me, and then all I need to do is block off time for each of these weekly activities to be done. I go in and I say when I'm gonna evangelize. I go in and I put in when I'm gonna do secret place. I go in and I say when I'm gonna read. And then in my weekly calendar, I put all the other things that I need to do that are just life, like work, meeting with disciples, meeting with friends and family, whatever I have going on that are not in my priorities. Because remember, you don't need to put everything in your priorities, but I put that in my weekly schedule as well. Once that is done, you do that for the 7 days of the week. now you have everything in your hand that you just need to do in order to meet those 90-day priorities, in order to meet that 1 year or that 3-year target, in order to do the things that God is calling you to do through the vision He's planted in your heart. And the fourth point, one of the more important ones, without this, you have literally nothing. And that is to execute. This step is very self-explanatory, very simple. You have your calendar ahead of you, in front of you. Now it just is about practicing discipline and really meeting with Jesus to receive His power, receive His love to drive you to go and fulfill the vision that He is giving you. Don't overload yourself with too many priorities, too many tasks, because as I've found out, when I do that, I don't have enough time for free space. You have to implement that as well. But execution is super simple. You just gotta get up and you just gotta do it, dude. Proverbs 16 says that man plans his course, but God establishes his steps. It is in these daily moments of meeting God through these responsibilities and obeying Jesus in the small things and the day-to-day activities of meeting with people to love them and taking care of the responsibilities that He's given you, that we worship God. This is a worship to Him. Us worshiping Him is not just in a worship service where we're singing songs and dancing or whatever. No, it's daily life, daily living. And just a few last little thoughts about this whole process, right? Wow, Kyle, you've really mapped it out for me well. Now I feel like I have so much control over my schedule and my life and all these things. That's good, but always remember, effectiveness with people is different than effectiveness with projects or a schedule or school or even things that have to do with ministry. Typically, slow is fast with people. You can apply a bunch of schedules and graphs and data to a bunch of other things, but be patient first with yourself and this process, because you'll see the first 90 days, you're gonna set a bunch of stuff that you understood, dang, I overloaded myself. But after time goes by month, you're gonna get better, you're gonna get more effective at these things, and it's gonna help you a lot. And another thing just to keep in mind, allow the Lord to guide this whole process. It's not by might, it's not by power, it's not by any kind of amazing skill set that I have in regards to scheduling and controlling my life. It's not by intellect, it's not by calendars. It's by the Holy Spirit that we are able to live and fulfill God's plan and purpose for our life. So take these principles, apply them to your life. Let me know if you have questions, and pray for me because I'm still learning these things as well. Oh, and I almost forgot. Keep it G-Bay! Ooh!